Cancer. Welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is going to be a general reading for you. And on today's reading, I am mixing up Tarot Galux, which I'll start off with, and then I'm going to clarify it with the Tarot Vintage. I don't know why it's called to have two big tarot decks in here, powerful ones, so must be a really good reading that's coming out for you, Cancer, right now. We're going to be doing a powerful reading for you if you stick around, because we're going to look at how to conquer your fears that maybe are coming up right now for you. And oftentimes when the topic of fear comes up in our system, we want to block it, because fear is the most intensive, one of the most intensive emotions in our system. It can bring up a lot of anxiety, paralysis. I know for me, I felt so paralyzed a couple of weeks ago with the fear that was coming up in my system. And I knew that I needed to look at it and figure out, okay, where is this coming from? Because if there's something that's going on in the big world right now that's causing us to have fear in our system, it's triggering us. And so we really need to look at, okay, what is this triggering? Why is this fear in my system? It's just not because it's because of what's happening in the world right now. It's triggering us, and that's why it's coming up. So we're going to look at what's coming up with you. Why are you blocking it? Because we have a tendency to block it if you haven't already clicked off, because that's a sign that you're blocking it if you click it off. Where is it coming from? What's the origin? From your childhood, for sure. Adolescence. We're going to take a deep dive into your unconscious, into your shadow, to see, what is it that you need to heal? Because that's what you need to heal in order to get at this fear. or else it'll keep us paralyzed. And how can you begin to release it? And so we're going to ask some advice from the tarot, and I will also give you some playlist at the end to help you out with what's coming up in your reading. So I'm going to put you on speed shuffle right now, and I will come back in a few seconds. Okay, Cancer, let's begin with where is fear showing up in your life. We're going to start off with the Five of Wands in reverse. Five of Wands talks about these individuals that are look like they're battling out. They have these wands, and they're kind of hitting each other's wand with it. There's a battle. And I like to call this card my inner critic card, because it's like a battle of the egos, and your own ego will often, say these things to you and keep repeating them in your head. Who do you think you are? Why do you want to do this? Just things that will just really criticize you. So, I'm thinking maybe there's something you want to do, or, there's something going on with you, but your inner critic is out right now, and it's in reverse. So there's a real, I think you're trying to ignore or push down what this inner critic keeps coming up at you. And so you could be somebody that's very much in your head right now and just hearing all these things. And if it's around your fear, it could be, why are you being such a wimp, or why are you scared, or what's wrong with you? Why can't you do this? Like things to do with maybe something you want to do, but it's just, you're hearing that, that jargon, those sentences over and over in your head that keeps criticizing you for something. And your Empress card comes out next, and the Empress is it explains a little bit more about what you're criticizing yourself for, because the Empress is a card. She's the third card in the major arcana, but she's the second half of the feminine archetype. And the first half is the High Priestess, number 2. The Empress represents pure emotion. Somebody that is completely embodied. They live from their body. They're in their body. They're grounded. They feel all their emotions. That's the side of us, right? The side of us where the feminine side to us, where we have we feel all our emotions, and when we're in our body, we live in our body, we're not up in our head. But I think that you're very much in your head. There's something that's blocking you. And maybe you're telling yourself, you know, why can't you conquer this fear? Like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you face this fear? And you know, it's really interesting because Cancer, you are a sign that's very sensitive. And so I'm wondering if you are repeating, your inner critic is repeating some of those things to you. Like I said, like, why are you being such a wimp? What's wrong with you? Why are you scared? Why are you a scaredy cat? You know, you repeat these things that people told you when you were younger. That's what the ego self does, because it wants to keep you small, because our ego self is a scared part. And that's where the paralysis comes in. You're hearing things in your head that are keeping you small. If you think about what's going on in our world right now and how there are certain individuals in the world that are trying to keep us small by keeping us scared, and is exactly what's happening with you. But now you have to look at it at a very personal level because it's triggering you. And so how were you kept small when you were younger? We're going to get into that when we get into this, the origin of this fear. But there's, a part of you that you told yourself, you're telling yourself things that are keeping you small right now. And the last thing that comes out is this Two of Cups card. And this Two of Cups, it's the beginning, you know, close to the beginning of the cup suit. It's number 2 and it goes to number 10, the pip cards. And so this card speaks about this relationship, this loving relationship right here between these two individuals. It's a very healing relationship because you can see the caduceus right here. You know, it's a very empowering, healing relationship. But this doesn't talk about a relationship with someone else. It talks about the relationship that you have with yourself. This really healing relationship that you can have with yourself, the beginning. And so I see here that there's this beginning of this really healing relationship that you can have with yourself. But you're fearing getting into your body because you're hearing and feeling this fear because you're hearing that inner critic critic that's coming out and saying, you know, all those things that you heard about when you were younger. And I can see that there's a part of you that's not wanting right now to feel this fear because there's something that was said to you when you were younger about feeling your emotions. So we're going to get into that when we get into that part without even looking at it here. So how are you blocking this? There's a fear coming up here. And you know it. And it's really almost keeping you paralyzed. And so how are you blocking it? Well, there's one thing you won't do. And we just said that is going into your body. Because this is in reverse, there's a real resistance to it. In an upright position, this is the Ace of Coins, the Ace of Pentacles. And the pentacle itself is our body. The pentacle suit is that earth element being grounded in our body and everything to do with our body, our material world, our physical world, our self-worth. And I think your self-worth is going to come up here. I saw a card, over here. It's going to come up in your the origin of your fear. But this card speaks about being, it's a gift, an offer from the universe that says, here's your chance now. You have this fear coming up in your system. Here's your chance. Here's a gift for you to get back into your body, to get out of your head where you are right now. This is where our ego self, when this fear comes in, it comes in from our ego self is afraid of emotion, and so it'll try to block it because it's a very scared part. And so it'll keep you out of your body because it doesn't want you touching your body. It doesn't want you to go into it. It doesn't want you to go inwards and discover what it means to be grounded into your body, because that's where all your emotions are. And there's a real resistance here for you. There's a real fear maybe on your part of going into your body and feeling what these emotions are that are coming up for you right now. And King of Wands comes in, and the King of Wands is our ego self. The king in my deck is the ego self. It's the masculine side of us. And we all have a masculine side, the ego, and then we have a feminine side who's the queen, and she's going to come up in a bit. The Empress is our feminine side as well. And so the king is the ego self. He's the king of the wand. He's the king of the wand is going into that creative direction that we want to go in. So there's something here that you want to do. And the ego self is very afraid, and it's coming out and it's blocking you from doing it, you know. And then you have this page of wands. So you have two wands here that, you know, if you were to, you're afraid to get back in your body and feel, and your ego self is definitely blocking you from doing this. And I'm wondering if, you know, if I go back up to the top here, but we talked about how your inner critic is coming out. So there is something that you want to do, and you have this huge fear around it, and you're getting really blocked from your ego. And then you have a little page of wands here. When you were younger, the page, first of all, is represents my inner children. There's 4 of them, and you can have more than one inner child. Our inner children hold all of our memories, hold all of our big emotions that we couldn't feel when we were younger. They hold all of our trauma. And when a page comes up, when an inner child comes up in my deck, they need healing. We need to listen to them. We need to give them a voice. They want to be understood. They need to grieve. They have a lot of pain from when they were younger. You have an inner child right here that's coming out, that's blocking. You have your king that doesn't want to hear from them. Your ego self doesn't want to hear from them. And it's the wand again. This part of you when you were younger is holding the wand. Is holding the wand of the direction that you were meant to go into. We all came here to do something, you know, and there was some direction, I think, when you were younger that you knew what you wanted to do. Something you wanted, probably you were passionate about when you were 4, 5, 6 years old. But you weren't allowed to for some reason. I don't know why, but we're gonna understand this a little bit more. But there's something you wanted to do and you weren't allowed to, and you know, maybe, you know, you might have expressed some tears when you were younger, some anger, and you were told put those away, right? You're a real sucky baby, and you're a sensitive kid. You know, Cancer is a sensitive sign. And so maybe you're hearing all these inner critics in your head going, you're a sucky baby, put that away. You know, why are you so scared? You know, things like that. And so where is this coming from? This fear, this inner critic of not being able to do this, not being able to be in your body, not feeling like it's a safe place, really, to feel your emotions. Well, when you were younger, what's in your unconscious? Well, you have the 6 of coins, and I said that there was a, well, that's very interesting. I didn't notice that. Here it is right here. So you have the 6 of coins, which is the 6 of pentacles, clarified by it in the upright position. So that's very interesting that you have both of them here. So let's talk about the 6 of pentacles first of all. 6 of pentacles, my 6 is in my deck, talk about have a duality to them. And so on the outside, that you can see that this beggary, these 2 beggars are asking, you know, this individual is saying, okay, how many coins do you think you're worth? What do you want? And they say, well, this beggar says, you know, I want two pentacles. He's going to weigh them out because he thinks he's worth 2. This one says, I'll have 3. Going to weigh it out. Thinks because, you know, that's what he thinks he's worth. This card is really a card about giving and receiving. And it's really a card about, you know, if you feel that you are worth a certain amount, that's what you're going to get. So it's really a card about feeling unworthy. You have 2 of them. Very much a sense of feeling unworthy when you are younger. If our emotions are blocked when we are younger, if we're not allowed to go into the direction that we wanted to go in, and no surprise that you have a 4 of wands here. A wands, again, is about that creative direction we want to go into. You were discouraged, prevented, blocked, because this 4 of wands is coming out right here. This 4 of wands is in an upright position. This talks about, I like to see these individuals celebrating, walking away from this city in the background, this walled place that they lived in. It's like they're, you can see these wands. Wands are meant to go. They're fire energy. They're meant to go, meant to be free. And look at them right here. It's like they're put into like a jail, right? And these people are walking away from it. So I'm wondering if you had this very controlling environment when you were younger, not able to get away, not able to, and feeling, because it was so controlling, right? Feeling that you did not matter. Because if we are controlled and we are called names like sucky baby, why are you scared? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And if we're so controlled when we were younger, we feel like we don't matter. Anything we do, we don't matter. And that's why you have in your reading, you have a page of wands right here, because that's the one that's blocked. That younger child of yours that knew what direction they were supposed to go into, but you were controlled, and maybe you were sent into another direction, or you're told that you couldn't go where you wanted to go. And then you have a page of cups right here. You have 2 pages right here that need healing. Your inner children need healing because they were so controlled and prevented from doing what you wanted to do, and you feel this real sense of unworthiness, and you continue to repeat the same things that you were told when you were younger that made you feel unworthy. And that's where, when this fear is coming up right here, you just keep saying these things to yourself, the same things that you were told when you were younger, and you're scared to do whatever you want to do. And you'll just keep telling that to yourself because you don't feel worthy enough. And so we're going to look at the other page right here. What's the advice? How do you begin to release this fear? You have this big fear in you to do something, to take your life in a new direction, and you don't feel worthy enough. So how do you release that? Well, you start off with the Queen of Coins, and she came sideways. And she's the feminine side to us, like I said. So she's, like the Empress over here. You have 2 big feminine cards here. And she has the coin. She has the pentacle, right? And remember how I said you are blocking that pentacle? Well, here it is again. She's sideways. She's in her body. The queen, the feminine side to us, is a part of us that's very much in her body. She's embodied. She lives from her body. She loves her body. She's very much feels her sense of self-worth. And she's not afraid to feel her emotions at all. And, she's sideways here. So she can become like, it's a part of us that can become quite... feel quite hopeless, and maybe you feel a lot of hopelessness, which makes sense, especially if you felt like were in some kind of a prison when you were younger. You can feel really hopeless and want to get out of that jail, and she can actually have some ungrounded anger, some real anger brewing underneath there. If you were conditioned in a certain way, and so the universe just says, it's time here to discover that feminine side of you. It's time here to discover your body. You have a body that has emotions in it. And then right behind it is this 10 of Wands. Again, more wand energy here. Here's those wands. This individual that's taking all those 10. It's the end of a cycle here. It's like, it's time now for you to take these burdens. These are the burdens here that you've been carrying for a long time. These things that you told yourself, that you've been telling yourself all your life, and you've repeated over and over again about how unworthy you are, your inner critic. It's not time now to take them and set them free. I think of this card sometimes as me going into a car with all these balloons, these balloons filled with helium. And you know how you struggle to get them into a car? You push them and they want to come up, and you push them down and you want to come up. This individual is trying to keep these wands down, trying to keep them down. And maybe you've been keeping them down all your life in your head. Your ego self has been pushing all this down, trying to keep it down, this direction you want to go in, something to do for yourself, but you're just pushing it. Your ego self is pushing it down, going, who do you think you are? Why do you want to do this? It's time now to let it go. It's time now to let your ego self know that, you know what? I'm not believing this shit anymore. I'm done. You know, this stuff was handed to me when I was younger, and I'm done. It's time for me to move on. I want to learn. I want to learn how to grieve. This is the Page of Cups. This is the most powerful card in this reading right now for you. It's that inner part of you, the one that carries the cup, and it's blocked right now. And you have to understand what this card is. It's the last card, but it's the most important one. You have an inner part of you. It's called a little love seeker. It's that part of you that all they want is love. They're trying to get back to that love that you didn't get when you were a child. I can see here, because you lived in this kind of prison-like environment where you felt so unworthy because, you know, you were told when you were younger that, you know, certain things by your caretakers, parents, whoever, these adults around you that told you that you were an unworthy, worthless person, that you didn't matter. And so that little child of yours is now seeking out, continues to seek out in all the wrong people. And, you know, we really can invite and call in these toxic people. And it can be this chameleon, you know, where we just change ourselves over and over because we're trying to find the love, getting people to love us. And it's a real desperate part of us, real desperate part. And I know it's like it's that part that we really have to heal. We spend our lifetime trying to heal this part of us. But we have to get back to that. What was it that, you know, this unworthiness, what were these things that I was told when I was younger that are not true, that I have to feel now? It's like you couldn't feel this when you were younger. Now you can. You need to heal this part of you. And this other little page right here, which knew what direction you wanted to go into. This reading is about cups and it's about wands. You wanting to go into a certain direction, and you were told all of these things about yourself. It's time for you to learn how to grieve. It's time for you to lean into this grief that you felt when people told you how unworthy you are. And it's time to really, you know, start uncovering that fear. You know, you start to lift that fear of going inwards. I'll leave you with a playlist on fear, and then I'll also leave you a playlist on grounding. I want you to get back into your body. Learn how to get back into your body so you can start to feel some of this pain and cry and grieve and grieve and grieve. And grieving makes room for something new to come in. It's a beautiful emotion. I love to grieve. My ego self doesn't want me to go there, but I love to grieve when it's time. So I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. Cancer, this is healing yourself is the most difficult journey of your life, but it's the most important one. Take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.